Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be reviewing the NECA Toys Ultimate Emissary 2 Predator based off of the deleted scenes from 2018's The Predator, which basically shows the Predators teaming up with the humans, and of course they need to sport some very human-esque military gear, which I really like. Now, if you haven't watched my Emissary 1 Predator review, I will try and remember to put a link down below, but if I forget, just search it up on the channel or go to my NECA Predators playlist. Now, in that video, I basically put the figure under a microscope and showed every little detail, every scuff and scrape, and it was a lot of fun. And originally there was going to be a joint review with this one and Emissary 1, but as I said in that video, I saw a lot of differences between the two to the point where I just thought each of them needed their own video. And this guy definitely has a lot of differences, so I will be doing comparisons later on. But anywho, let's get into the review. Alrighty, so the box shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody who's collected figures from this line. It does show Emissary 2, the guy in the actual suit, on the front cover here, and we do get the traditional blue and white scheme that we usually get for all the 2018 Predator stuff. It says Emissary 2 at the bottom. On the side is pretty much plain, just says The Predator, Emissary 2, and the side continues the portrait, which again looks pretty damn cool. And the back just shows the figure off with all of his accessories, and they do kind of like a comic book panel design here, showing the biomask, the assault rifle, the unmasked head sculpt, all that good stuff, and of course a bio. So for the folks who want to read this, go ahead and pause. And like most Ultimate figures, go ahead and just open the panel here, which is held on by Velcro, and you see a really nice image of Emissary 2 with a diorama in the background, and you do get the traditional blue city background here if you want to put that on display. But I actually keep these boxes on the shelf. I don't hang them on the ceiling just because they just really look nice on the shelf, like all next to each other. And for you nitpickers, here is the top of the box and the bottom with the UPC and barcode. And here is the figure outside the box, and he looks really good. I have him sporting the generic fist hands and the unmasked head. So I'm going to give a quick 360 while I talk a little bit about him. It's hard to say whether or not I like him more or less than Emissary 1. I do prefer the armor piece that he has on his right arm there, but I think I prefer the color and sculpt of the head on Emissary 1 with like all that purple and violet and pink. But that's not to say that the head sculpt and color design on this guy isn't good. It's really unique looking, but I felt like the other one has a bit more of a shelf presence. You'll notice that unlike Emissary 1, he does have the traditional Predator gauntlet on his left hand this time, and of course on his right he has that kind of exoskeleton thing, which I'll get into a bit later. But besides that, I would say that the majority of the figure is pretty much the same. It still uses the traditional fugitive Predator body that you can, I mean, if you want to see that up close, go check out the Lab Escape Fugitive Predator review, which I'll try to remember to link down below, because I give an in-depth of that body mold just because it's obviously so easy to see on that figure with him being armorless. So, and as far as QC goes with this figure, it's pretty much the same as Emissary 1, in that, yeah, I had frozen joints, but I took care of those, and I think that was pretty much it. The ball joints on the feet on this one are definitely a heck of a lot better than on Emissary 1, which I just think were a little bit too loose, considering I haven't really had this guy fall on me yet. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I just want to make sure that I'm not sucking NECA's wiener, because I've been watching bigger reviewers talking about these figures, the Batman, Superman stuff, like the Comic-Con packs, and they're just sucking NECA's wiener. So for people who are new to the channel, that is not my style. If there's a problem with this figure, I will let you know. But without further ado, let's get into the review. Okay, so I won't lie to you guys, he actually looks pretty dang funny up close, just looking at him straight on. I don't know what's with this guy, but he just looks hilarious when you're looking at him straight on. But jokes aside, it's a really well done head sculpt. Of course, you do have the several streaks of blue across all these different ridges and sculpted detail, which look really nice. As far as a coating of gloss goes, I think this one has a heck of a lot less than Emissary 1, who I nicknamed Unicorn Predator just because of how much he pops on the shelf. But this one's definitely a lot dimmer, a more low-key, I guess, but it still looks really good, and I do like how they sculpted all of these ridges on the outer head. They almost look sharp, and it's just very well done. I really do like all the scales and the wrinkles, and what I like about the top here is it almost looks like fingerprints on the head, so it's really well done. And you'll notice his forehead here is definitely a lot different than other Predators. He has these two like giant scales atop him, so he's definitely unique looking. We really haven't had any other Predators like this who's just, I don't know, usually Predators under the mask, yeah, they're gross looking, but they're sleek in a way. But yeah, this one's just all over the place. And I do like the paint that they use for all these blue dots across his cheeks. And now that I'm looking at it, because in the Emissary 1 review, I basically said the mandibles, the teeth on the mandibles and stuff, they have these ridges across them, they have a rough texture, but it looks like this one is a little bit different in that they're just smooth with the bone color. So it's nice to know that they didn't just reuse the mandibles from Emissary 1, which, you know, that's always nice. And you can tell the same amount of detail they usually put in with the gums and the inner teeth there, with the red and the pink and all that. And let's see, the eyes. They're definitely not perfect on mine. I'd say they're better than others I've seen, so I reckon I got a little bit lucky there. And man, you can even see like all the wrinkles and stuff right there on his quote-unquote nose, if you want to go there. And the dreadlocks should also look quite familiar, just basically Fugitive Predator stuff with the beads painted gold, and of course they are all individualized. So yeah, that's a reuse. I don't mind, but I'm glad they didn't really kit bash anything for the rest of the head sculpt. And if you watched my Emissary 1 review, I'm basically going to be repeating a lot of the stuff I said in that review as far as the armor goes, which is essentially just a reuse for the most part with different paint schemes. I'd say on Emissary 1, the camo appearance on all the armor between all these plates and stuff was a lot more plentiful, whereas in this one it's just here and there. It's not really all over the place. And we do get scuffs and scrapes on the armor plates, which look really nice. Let's check out the back, which, as I've noted in the previous review, looks like a jetpack to me. I don't know why, but it definitely looks pretty cool. You got the straps there with the wrinkles, more scuffs and scrapes. So that looks pretty cool. The shoulder pads, they are painted, I think they're painted differently, because in general the paint scheme on this guy is a lot darker than Emissary 1, and again, I'll be doing comparisons later, but yeah, this one's pretty much the same. It's a tiny bit pliable, the shoulder pad, so it definitely restricts a lot of movement. For some reason, I feel like the movement on this is better than Emissary 1. It could just be the joints being a little bit more outward, I don't really know. But the biggest difference between him and Emissary 1 is this right here. So this guy can take on the Terminator with this exoskeleton armor piece for his right arm, which is a very pliable plastic, so it hardly restricts any movement. But man, look how cool that looks. I like to think that this one had like an injury or something, so he needs this extra help for this arm, but it looks so flippin' cool. Basically, it's an armor piece covering the elbow pad, strapped to the lower gauntlets, and it extends over his elbow and onto the lower part of his shoulder pad. So, and you do have a strap going around the bicep as well. So it looks super duper cool. I really like it. It's definitely a nice touch, and you do have the gauntlet as well with a little bit of camo. Looks pretty good. And the fists, which, you know, they're done well. You do have some scuffs and scrapes, the black paint, and the fingernails and fingers in general are just painted well. So no complaints there. And on this arm, you do have the traditional Fugitive Predator gauntlet without the ports to put in the wrist blades. But yeah, it's pretty much the same as what we've seen. So that's okay. You got the gold, the silver, a little bit of black wash, all good. And you do have this pliable piece right here for the ab armor, and you can see his body mold underneath, which, as I have mentioned, is Fugitive Predator, which I'm okay with. Not too big a deal. You do have some nice, like, I don't know, he reminds me of a reptile just because the color is just, these blue spots are all over the place, but they're done really well. You do have some going across the side, on the arms, on the elbows. It's good color variety, and it doesn't look, yeah, no, it's definitely not symmetrical, because, I don't know, I think that would just look dumb. And it's especially apparent on his lower back here, which kind of looks like a cross now that I'm looking at it. And you do have a lot of spots here on his tricep, and I'm imagining that the rest of the body underneath the armor is painted. I'm not 100% sure because, as I've said in Emissary 1, in the Emissary 1 review, this armor is not meant to be taken off, but if you manage to do so, there would be a sculpted body underneath. But again, I'm not quite certain if the paint apps would be on his chest and the upper back, because I see these blue spots poking out the sides, but who knows. And his skirt is pretty much a reuse with different paint apps. You do have the pouches, the buckles, a little bit of very light brown wear atop all this dark brown, and the rest of the skirt pretty much has the same design. Kind of looks like a picnic pattern right here. Same with the other side, and his backside has 4 different pouches, and of course the butt straps. The Predator can't leave the planet without butt straps. Remember that, folks. I gotta stop with the butt straps thing. Okay, moving down on the figure, the cargo pants look really well done. Again, I like how they sculpted in wrinkles across all of these straps, so it looks like it's pressing against the pants. And I like the camo pattern that they use for the cargo pants as well. Looks pretty good. Do have some pouches right here with some more wear and tear with the zipper. And knee pads, because he is a scooter. Can't be falling on your knees, folks. With a nice camo pattern as well. They even put camo pattern on the joints, so it doesn't look, you know, out of place. Wow, they even sculpted on a buckle and strap on this joint. That's actually crazy. That's nice that they did that. I didn't even notice that. I wonder if it was like that on Emissary 1 as well. And some more armor plates on the sides of the shins with some nice wear and tear. And the feet. He doesn't need sandals. He's a badass, so he just has foot wraps. And yeah, so the feet are just painted same color scheme as the rest of the figure with peg holes. But I am lucky to report, as I've mentioned, he stands pretty darn well. He has really tight joints, but you know, if you collect a lot from NECA, tight joints are a heck of a lot better than loose joints. I mean, man. So he stands pretty well. The ball joints are nice and tight in the ankles, so you can work with this guy and you can do some pretty easy poses with him, but yours might not be the same as mine. For all I know, yours could have super loose joints, just like my Thermal Vision Fugitive, which definitely had some problems, but let's get into articulation. Alright, so the head can move up about that much. It is on a ball peg joint and can look down pretty far. It can go side to side easily and left to right, and you can do a 360, though I don't recommend it. The shoulder pads, you know, they are limited. They can go out about that far. What I said in the Emissary 1 review is I wish you can actually manipulate this a little bit more, maybe to press it down the arm so you can get more movement, but what can you do? You can go in that much, do a full 360. He does have double jointed elbows, which are pretty tight on mine, but there you go. And at each joint there is a swivel, so he has a ton of articulation there. The hands, full 360, and they're on a hinge, so out and in. And much like Fugitive, you have two joints at the abs, one right here, so you can do some pretty athletic poses with him. He can go basically all over the place, and this will come out of his crotch a little bit, so just tuck it back in. And right, so the legs, got those ball joints in there pretty tight. Go forward that much, back that much, and I don't like doing this, but yeah, he can do full splits, but I don't recommend it because mine are super duper tight, and every time I do that I feel like it's just gonna snap in half or something. But he does have a thigh cut, which is nice, a nice swivel here at the base of the knee, and double jointed knees as well. Can this go more? Yep, there you go, which is lovely. And the feet can basically go the full 360 for that much, back that much, and a decent ankle pivot. I mean, these Emissary Predators, they don't have the best ankle pivot motions that I wish they would have, but I can live with it just because a lot of the figure is limited in general, so it's not like I was gonna be doing crazy poses. But you know, for people who are toy photographers, which I really want to get back into, I know this might be a little bit of an issue. Okie dokie, size comparison. Let's bring in the big guy for once, front and center, and he obviously towers over Emissary here. And I do have him next to his lovely brother, Emissary 1, who wants to fall on me. Come on, work with me, pal. Those ball joints, I'm telling you. Okay, I think we're good. Put you back there. We always got to do a family photo, folks. That's been the theme in these reviews. I do have Mr. Nude Predator, aka Lab Escape. I do have Thermal Vision Fugitive, whose plasma caster makes me want to do horrible things to people, and of course the main man himself, Armored Fugitive. And I've said this before, but I'm probably going to be doing an overall video for the line, but yeah, there they all are. I've been doing this in like the past 3 reviews, so I apologize, but I just can't help myself, folks. Mother Fugitive Predator fell. God damn it. Are they broken? Are the wrist blades? No. No, we're good. Okay. I blame his ankle joints. So, oh, and the strap just fell. Mother Sorry, folks, but I gotta control my temper. Take my insulin shots. Okay. And he stands at about under 9 inches. I forgot to do that earlier, but there you go. And here he is next to my alpaca. Alrighty, and here are all of his accessories. As I've said, shouldn't come as any surprise to people. It's pretty much all the same stuff we got with Emissary 1, but I'll still show it off. Starting off, let's show off the alternate head sculpt, which of course is the biomask version. And no, unfortunately, this does not have the LED light up feature that Lapscape came with. Unfortunately, I really would like NECA to continue doing that, just because, I don't know, it was pretty cool. They only did it one other time with the 1/4 scale stuff, and that worked out, so hoping for the best. But yeah, it's Fugitive Predator. Nothing too fancy. You do get the proper sculpting for the edges here, so obviously the blue streaks with all those ridges and some blue spots here on the jaw and the mandibles, so there you go with that. And hopefully the joint on mine won't be devastating. Yeah, so that was a super tight joint, as I expected. Now on the last Emissary, this really did not go in so well. I don't think it ever even like clipped in all the way, so I want to say be gentle, but you actually have to put like a ton of force. Okay, so this is the best I can do without breaking the damn thing. It didn't even clip in, it's kind of just resting on the joint. It's not like it's gonna easily pop off, but when I put this head back on, I feel it actually clip in, so. And he looks odd right now because I have the dreadlocks completely slicked back. I want at least a little bit on the sides, but I'm like I mentioned, folks, had a minor interruption, but yeah, so be cautious. I don't know if yours will be like mine. I feel like if both of them have this issue, I don't know, I feel like other people would also have it. Maybe I just got an unlucky streak, but yeah, I think it's not that bad, but yeah, it just comes off really easily, and watch how this just pegs in pretty well. Come on. See? There you go, the click. And it stays on pretty damn well. It's not game breaking for me just because I don't plan to display him with this. I think these Predators are meant to be displayed with the unmasked head, but again, I am not sucking NECA's wiener, so not cool, Randy, not cool. Come here and fight me. I take that back, I'm like 50 pounds. But hey, if anyone's a bodybuilder out there, one of my followers, let me know. Okay, the assault rifle, so this is pretty much a carbon copy of what we got with Emissary 1, which I wish there were some differences. I mean, you just have the silver, the black, and the green pouch right here, and like Emissary 1's, this can open up, but I feel like the joint is being stressed, so I'll just leave it closed. But yeah, it's the same. Got the grip here and all that. Personally, I wish if it had at least some weathering, maybe some little differences, but I guess not. And you do get the appropriate hands for him to hold it, the trigger finger right here, which is done well, and just this gripping hand for the underside. Okay, and there's something I just noticed. Whenever I take off the hands, some paint does rub off of the pegs. If you look on my hand, there's little black flakes all over me. So that's from the hands. So that kind of sucks. Be aware of that. And just place this in. Should go in easily. It does have a pretty snug fit. There we go. And yeah, should be pretty much self-explanatory from there. There you go. So he holds it pretty dang well. Don't fall. And we do get the typical, I call them roaring hands. So I probably won't be displaying them with these. I usually don't, just because, oh, look how cool that looks, folks. Look how cool that looks. So he holds it pretty well. I definitely dig it. Again, I wish there were some variances with the gun, just because these guys are pretty similar in general, similar enough, so I was hoping they would at least do something different from the gun. And I actually have this guy right here, so yeah, those guns, they're pretty much exactly the same. So yeah, but oh well. And now that they're actually here, let me stand them next to each other. And I don't know how well this is shown on camera, but this one has, I guess, kind of a, at least the top half has a darker shade of brown, and this one's a little bit dimmer. Besides that, obviously, the gauntlet is on the other one on this one, and the other gauntlet on this one is actually just a strap with buckles, and obviously he has the exoskeleton piece, and the bottom half Again, I don't know how well this is being shown, but I feel like this one is a little, like these straps and buckles are darker than this one, but I don't know, because I have LED lights on right now. They could be looking pretty much exactly the same, but and obviously the heads are completely different and the paint scheme, but overall the body molds are pretty much exactly the same. Alrighty folks, we have reached the end of the video, and now it is time I answer your question. What do you do with this figure? Do you buy it or do you pass on it? And I'll say the same thing as I did with Emissary 1. They're really unique figures and I highly recommend them. But just to be sure I'm not sucking NECA's wiener, they do have problems. You'll probably get frozen joints, just like me. The joints on the, the ball joints on the ankles, not the best. And as I've said earlier, I wish the shoulder pads were a little bit more manipulative so you can get better poses, but overall I think this is one of the line's stronger figures. And as to which one I like more, I'll probably go with Emissary 1, but that's just me. Unicorn Predator all the way, folks. So there you go. Go check out the Sanctuary on Facebook and YouTube, and of course Trophy Room on Facebook, an Alien Predator group that I created with some lovely folks. So if you are a big fan of both franchises like me and like the folks there, come on and join us. We welcome anybody. Post your collections, your comics, or whatever you want about the franchises, and we'd love to have you there. And as always, people, have a good morning, evening, midday, whatever, and take care.